Hi, my name is Nils Naujoks and I'm a professional sim racer for G2 Esports. Overall, there's huge debate in sim racing whether or not hardware can make you faster. I don't think in particular if you have the talent, the hardware will make you shine or put you at the back of the field. In the past 2 decades, sim racing equipment has made a major leap. Of course, we were taking deeper takes onto pedals, racing wheels, PCs and of course monitors as well. In particular, the monitor in sim racing is like one of the few connections you have to the car. Everything is perceived visually in the first place, and therefore it's really important to have high frame rates, low response rates of the monitor, because this gives you a competitive advantage in the end and makes it easier for you to perceive what the car is doing.
Between the two of them, the inside of Coates, Parker gets too heavily involved, and that's Whitehead and Coates.
A very good morning, everybody, and welcome along virtually to Knockhill Circuit in the Kingdom of Fife for our latest round of the official UK Mini Challenge eSeries. Richard John Neal here with you, and my guest commentator today. A very warm welcome to the commentary box, real world JCW driver Ronan Pearson. Ronan, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you, Richard. How are you?
Yeah, very good, mate. Thanks for joining us. Real pleasure again to have a real world driver having a commentary debut with us, and I know you are looking forward to today, and you're looking forward to having a crack round your home circuit. You live pretty near to the track. In reality, you were saying. We'll come on to that in a minute. The circuit is a fairly tight one, 1.267 miles, as you can see. We've got our morning schedule there. Practice in just practice was done already, qualifying in just a moment, 15 minutes of quali, and the two races, 20 minutes each, in the top 12 reverse grid for race 2. Clerk of the course, Andy Ringland, I think he's going to be busy yet again, and sort of not dishing out the penalties. That makes it sound as if he's looking for trouble, but he is there to ensure fair play, which is the positive and key spin on things. Race director Rich Hayden will be keeping on things as well. Mike Yao is in charge of everything technical and giving you the right pictures as we go through the day. Incredibly, we're in the second half of the season now. We're at Silverstone National next week, International the following week, and then of course Brands Hatch GP to round things off on the 6th of March. So here's confirmation of the race day schedule. The bottom link now absolutely key for us. Hashtag Mini Challenge UK eSeries. Get involved, send us a message, tell us who you're cheering on. Dan Gower says good luck to Alfie Glennie that is. And Vanessa Burrows from AOC Gaming, one of our very valued sponsors, saying good luck to everybody. Come back to the message in a minute, because we do need to have a look at the championship standings as they are coming into this weekend. So at the halfway point of the 2021 championship, Mike Epps leads the series by just 3 points from the machine, Dave Marshall. Then Jack McIntyre in third. Dave Marshall and Jack 1 and 2 in the sim racers category. Jordan Brennan is in fourth place and third in the sim, so the top 3 sim lads all together on the points chart. Fifth place, as you can see, Max Edmondson, and quite handily in the graphics you can see the drivers who have had the penalty points. We won't go into too much as to why or whether they agree with that, but it is something that's taken very seriously and run as much close to a real world championship as you would expect. Hoping to get into the top 10 this week, the likes of Ryan Elliott, Josh Martin, Isaac Smith. They're just outside the top 10 at the moment, so looking to try and make a little bit of progress up the order. Here's our spotters guide for you. Got 2 new drivers to this year's series joining us today. One, sponsored by the Marlow Watch Company, is Ross McGregor. So great to have another Scot on the virtual grid for us this weekend. Ross, a top sim lad, I think has done a little bit of real world racing in Mazda MX-5, as if I've got that right. And also good to welcome back Lewis Brown, who is back with us as well, and he is in the AOC car again. AOC, the sponsor of the series. A big thank you to them for their support and involvement, and hello to everybody at AOC who might be watching. So Ronan, I'll go back to that point that I was making. You live just a few miles from the track.
I do, yeah. I live 5 miles down the road from Knockhill. I'm just looking at the backdrop there of the circuit that's being presented to everybody. It's nice and sunny. It makes a rare change
it's one of the things, isn't it? In terms of we get as close to reality as we can in the eSeries, but I'll be honest, if you're at Knockhill, you're going to have a day of horizontal rain, aren't you? If you're there all week, and have at least one day of it, and we haven't got that yet.
Absolutely, especially if it's a 3-day race weekend, one of the days is guaranteed to be wet.
And to be honest, it's actually one of the things that gives any visit for me to the circuit its charm. I've been up there and had absolutely blazing hot days, wonderful hot days. I think the hottest day we ever had was one of the very old Eurocar rounds. You probably weren't even born when Eurocar was going on, but equally you get the days when it absolutely throws down. But it's a super track. I mean, people talk about the Grand Prix circuits these days, which are pretty flat and boring, but Knockhill's it's not built into the contours of the land. It is the contours of the land, so it provides a really good and exciting challenge for the drivers, and also just such a great place to watch as well. So what town do you live in? Are you how like you say 5 miles away? Which town is that? Is that Dunfermline?
Yeah, it's Dunfermline that I'm from. Grown up here for 17 years now.
So would you say you've done most of your mileage at Knockhill, or have you done more at other tracks?
Actually, until the beginning of last season, my most visited circuit on paper was actually Snetterton, which is the other end of the earth for us. It's more than an 8-hour journey.
Oh right, yeah, that's a long way, isn't it?
So that was quite funny. But no, I've done a lot of testing there now in the Mini, and a bit more to come as well.
That's good. How does that transfer? Because you've got a new team. Tell us about your new team, Peter.
Yeah, so I've moved to LDR Performance Tuning for the 2021 season. A really good move for me. They're a fantastic team. I've got a really, really good feeling about the season ahead. I've got 4 teammates, 5-car team, and it says it all really that they've retained all of their drivers from last season, and also I'm in the mix now as well. I think it's got a lot of potential, some strong results this season, I feel.
And LDR, that's Lawrence Heavy Racing, isn't it? Lawrence is based in, or he was last time I chatted to him, based in Sussex. So quite a big differential, isn't there? He's got to haul the car up for you to travel. So do you keep the car, or does it go back to Lawrence? And how does it work with testing at Knockhill, or are you testing elsewhere now?
We've got a few days planned at the southern circuits. At the minute, the car's here. I've been doing a lot of work on it myself ahead of the season. I really enjoy all that side of things. You get a lot of satisfaction out of it, because one, it saves money, but I've learnt a lot of skills as well, so it's really good. But we're yet to work out a plan for who keeps the car during the season. It might be split between the team for some weekends and us for the rest.
That sounds good. And obviously you can work the logistics out as you go along. So we are now moving towards our weekly hot lap, and this week we're in the company of one of the front runners of the championship once again, the Silent Assassin. Let's see how Jack McIntyre deals with the Knockhill circuit.
Hi, I'm Jack McIntyre. I'm the driver of the number 37 Zanshaw SimSport car in the Season 2 of the Mini Challenge eSeries. Here's a quick lap around the legendary Knockhill circuit in preparation for round 5 of the championship. So over the line and under the bridge to start the lap, car right over to the left hand side, braking hard for turn 1, really tricky downhill, right left little complex there, and then straight over to the left of the track ready to brake for McIntyre's really crucial corner with the run up to the hill. Use all the curb on the outside, straight through Butchers and then into one of the most famous chicanes in the world, I think. Really tricky, you've got to get the line really nailed even though it's a blind crest, otherwise you're off into the gravel on the outside. Straight into Clark's, again another late apex corner, you really have to get the entry perfect, otherwise you're off into the gravel and you lose a lot of time. And then the first breather of the lap, down the back straight, really hectic this track. Braking really hard once the tarmac changes colour, down into second gear, maybe even first gear, and then really tucked into the apex for a smooth run out of the last corner. And that's it. Already a lap of Knockhill. Super fast, super technical, super tricky. There'll be a lot of mistakes this weekend. Hopefully not too many by me, but it should be some great racing all round. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Thanks very much to Jack McIntyre for that. Tell you what, he's raised the bar for future weeks there. Not putting any pressure on. I can't remember who we've got next week, but put some pressure on them to up the quality of the hot lap that we get, as qualifying will be underway very, very shortly. I can tell you that appropriately, perhaps, Jack McIntyre was quickest in this morning's hour-long practice session. When I joined the stream, it was Max Edmondson who was top of the stack, and Max did stay up there relatively close to Jack McIntyre. And I mentioned Max because we've got a couple of messages come through on social media for him. Jeff Edmondson says Max good luck. Bod Cole says good luck to him as well. Michelle Dunn says good luck to her lovely son Jordan Brennan. And Helen Zelos, appropriately obviously, wishing Dan Zelos good luck for this weekend as well. Dan, as ever, racing in the Trevante Esports 45 car. Some other messages come through. Dan Gower, not Alfie Glennie, I think we mentioned that one earlier on. So we are underway. The great thing about it being a short lap is that we will get some times in fairly quickly. Knockhill circuit, I think, the fact that I've probably done the most commentaries on, because for around about 7 or 8 years I was commentator on the Scottish Motor Racing Club's output for Motors TV, and got to know, didn't get up to the track as much as I wanted to. We did the post-production in the studio afterwards, after the edit, but when I came up to the track, certainly had a great time, and still love all of the Scottish domestic racing. It's one of the most exciting, friendly series that you can get to watch, and very much the vibe that you get, if you haven't been to Knockhill for real, the vibe that you get from there is the vibe that I got when I first got into club racing, going to Brands Hatch back in the day. Brands doesn't have that now. Brands is still very good, obviously extremely polished and corporate and clean, and MSVR run a super show, but in terms of the friendly and getting to know everybody feeling, you can't beat the racing at Knockhill and their individual championships that they have. Really, really great stuff. So we've got the timing screen being having a little bit of a seesaw at the minute, with drivers pinging in their initial quick laps. Jordan Brennan already in the 53s, very, very quickly off the mark is Jordan Brennan. Ronan, how important is it to get in a quick early lap here at Knockhill?
It's vital, really. Last year, I think we had a couple of stoppages during the session because of red flags. You know, it's such an unforgiving circuit, so any of the 30 drivers on the grid makes a mistake in the beach and the gravel, you know, that puts an end to play for a little while. So yeah, that's a really good lap from Jordan Brennan in the Liqui Moly bat car. It's a really good benchmark, and there's a couple of guys, Lewis Brown and Rob Butler, were in a tenth of a second there, so it's really tight at the top. Looks like we might have lost Richard there from the commentary for a little minute, so just keep your eyes peeled, everybody, on the track action here from qualifying. It's really tight at the top. The on board with Lewis Brown here. It's heading down to the hairpin. He's on a flyer at the minute. Down the gears into the hairpin now. Really tight uphill corner. Here he goes, exiting the hairpin now, onto hopefully a fast lap here over the start-finish straight. So heading up to the first corner, it's quite a bumpy straight, heading under the bridge. A real feeling of adrenaline at this point. down 2 gears into the first corner, toughest dip through the left, and then down the gears again into the right hand of McIntyre's. That's really nice from Lewis there. And down through Butcher's up to the Arnold Clark chicane. That's a really nice line. The Mini seems to handle the red sausage curbs a little bit better in the virtual world than in the real world. Lewis has aborted the lap now, but until then it was nice and smooth, looked really, really good. So Jack McIntyre is now at the top of the table with a 53.7. That's a really respectable lap time. Max Edmondson's just behind him, and then Mike Epps. So these guys all fighting for honours in the overall championship, and really, I've been really impressed with the standard of the driving in this eSeries.
I don't know if you can hear me, but hopefully, go on. Having a little bit of trouble with the signal breaking up coming into me at the moment. So apologies if I'm not being able to answer or feedback on your excellent commentary. Thank you for keeping us going there, Ronan. Much appreciated. Some more messages coming through on social media. Lawrence Davies says hello and well done to you. Very kind of Mark Dryden to say that he misses us on Motors TV. Miss you guys too, Mark. And if SMRC do want to talk about filming, let us know, because we'd be more than happy to get involved again in the near future if that was something you wanted to do. And Carl Walker supporting Max Coates and Lewis Brown by the look of it. And Pearson, echo this, great commentary, Ronan Pearson. He's not biased at all. And Mark Helvin says, tug for the win. Simon Reed, isn't it, in the 35 for the Mini-Man. Looking to get his first points of the season. Jack McIntyre on provisional pole, 53.71. A little bit outside what he did in the practice session this morning, a 53.65. Max Edmondson P2, so the practice session form pretty much as it is now in qualifying. We're looking at Max Coates, a lowly 21st for Max at the moment. He gets knocked down to 22nd, but he has got a bit of clear track here. Goes through the Arnold Clark chicane, straight lining it. If you do come to Knockhill, go and watch there, particularly when you got the likes of the Ginetta Super Cup cars and Porsche's throwing it through there. It's a wonderful place to watch qualifying. And I generally spend the day at Knockhill, qualifying day, just doing a circuit, walking around the outside. And it helps you appreciate exactly how much gradient there is on the track and what a challenging circuit Knockhill circuit is. 8 minutes left on the quali. So laps being ticked off. Max didn't improve, Max Coates. Inset there is our Bajan policeman, Damien Hall, the copper piston. He's got a lot of fans watching him, Damien, and remember, it's very, very early in the morning for Damien, so he's up with the mark again. Was that a wave from him? I don't know if he can hear us or not, but Damien looking to get back up into the points in the 246 car, currently running 15. So setting himself up nicely to maybe, rubbing the sleep from his eyes this early in the morning at the Damien. So 15th on the grid at the moment. That could turn into some points. Jack McIntyre looking to grab his first pole position of the year. Max Edmondson second, Jordan Brennan third. Mike Epps is fourth. Epps has had 3 poles so far. Gets knocked down by Jordan Brennan into fifth. Marshall, now Dave Marshall, the machine, goes up into third base. So it's McIntyre, Edmondson, Marshall, Brennan, Mike Epps. Ross McGregor doing superbly in 6th position in the Marlowe Watches car. Lewis Brown top 10. Great to see Lewis Brown back. Lewis, of course, a driver that I've known since the Ginetta Junior days. And without a doubt, like yourself, Ronan, I think it's going to be a championship contender in 2021.
He absolutely is. Lewis did a really good job at Knockhill actually last season. I spent the best part of race 1 and 2 battling with him in the top 10, and then he went on to win the third race, I think it was. So he'll be hoping for very much more of the same here. But yeah, he's a VRRC rising star and a teammate of mine for this season as well. So really good to learn a couple of things from Lewis. A lot of respect for him. He's a good lad.
Good for him to get the acknowledgement from the BRDC. One thing I always say, don't necessarily get the chance to say it on air, but when we meet Scottish drivers outside of the touring car package, and particularly I suppose on Ginetta Scholarship, the SMRC every bit as good as VRDC, and take a keen interest in their drivers wherever they are. Hosted the awards dinner a few years ago for them, and being part of it was great, but the key thing was just seeing how they keep a very keen eye on everybody, every single Scot, no matter where they race in the world. And I think every Scot that raced outside of Scotland got a mention, and they were keeping an eye. So Alan McNish and the team really do take a keen interest in everybody that's racing. And there is only the one circuit in Scotland, racing wise, at Knockhill, but boy, you looked after by the SMRC. It's a really good operation. Jack McIntyre's still on pole, 53.715. Mike Epps we are on board with. Mike, 3-point championship lead, so he's going to be looking that championship lead. If this was a race result, that lead is going to go, because Dave Marshall running in P3, 15 points, Mike Epps in 6-10, so 5-point overturn if they convert the starting positions into race finishes. Robbie Stapleford is 7th. Robbie, the youngest driver in the championship, youngster we saw in the scholarship, he's running in 7th place. Ryan Elliott looking to get up into the top 10, running in 18th place at the moment. Just behind him on the timing screen is Liam Lambert. Now Liam here aided well inside his best qualifying at the moment, goes 19th now. His best qualifying previously was 21st, which was the opening round of so let's hope that Liam can keep that there, maybe move up into a point scoring mission for this weekend. You might remember last season everybody got points in every race, but this year it is only top 15 that will earn their points. Liam relegated in fact by Andy Dorman, so Andy into 17th place. McIntyre and Edmondson still the front row from Dave Marshall and Ross McGregor. John Brennan and Mike Epps on the 3rd row provisionally at the moment. Max Coates is having a very off day today, isn't he? Max Coates down in 24th. I wonder what the issue is for Max. Might be have a little bit of systems glitching or something. Max is going to be disappointed with that.
I think it must be a little bit of sandbagging, Richard. Got to be good trait of Max's, but I'm sure he'll climb the order quickly.
Tell us briefly about the drivers that you've raced with him. I think we've spoken obviously about Lewis Brown, but any of the other lads that you can recall racing against for last season?
Spent a bit of time door to door with Max. That was really good fun. Again, a lot of respect for him and what he's done in his career to date. Dan Zelos is a fantastic driver, and don't know what he's doing for the 2021 season, whether he'll be back or not, but that was really good racing him a couple of times last season. Isaac Smith, he just beat me to the Rookie Cup overall award. I finished runner-up in that, but Isaac was fantastic as well in his debut season. Really good peddler. Then there's Liam Lambert, Jack Davidson.
Yeah, good field in the championship. Anthony Williams, I think, may be joining us for the final round, and he was saying just how good a strong entry point both championships coming up for this year, the Coopers and the JCWs. Mike Brennan says, come on Juggy Bear, bang it on pole, and echoes the sentiment. Great stuff by Ronan Pearson on Mike, thanks for that. Gemma Lambert says, be nice to see Lambert get up there. Continued good messages for Alfie Glennie, who is in 27th at the moment, saying, come on Alfie, let's see, try and get up there a little bit further. Very quick lad in Fiesta Juniors, Alfie Glennie. Tom O'Farrell 25th. Tom was actually saying that in the real world, if Tom O'Farrell was coming down to race at Knockhill, he lives on the island of Isla, it's a 2-hour ferry journey and then a 4-hour car journey just to get here. And I know the likes of Dave Newsham and Callum Newsham, have a fair old trek just to get to Knockhill in the first place before the long journey down. And us wet southerners, we just moan everything because we have to go to Knockhill once a year at the moment, and we have it easy really, don't we, mate?
You do. I really look forward to to when my race calendar says that we've got a round at Croft, because it's 3.5 hours, so that's really nice. We've got that to look forward to this season. And then Alton Park's 5 hours, so they're almost a bit like home rounds, especially when we go to places like Brands Hatch and Snetterton that are closer to France than I am to home.
It does make me laugh when you get some drivers like, oh, I'm not going to do the Knockhill round. These Southerners, I'm not going to do the Knockhill round because I've got to take an extra day off work. And you think, oh, for goodness sake, do it, just go. But budgets are key for everybody. And I make the comment lightly, but it's particularly Toker. I think that you have to set up on a Thursday or a Wednesday or something, so it is difficult for the teams wherever you go. The amount of time that you could potentially take. I bet the youngsters love it though in the juniors, getting away from school for the best part of a week, which is good. Look at that, yep, change on the screen. Ross McGregor, just as I started writing things down, Ross McGregor P2, so our newcomer here has done a fair bit of sim racing, but this is great. He's raced here in the Ginetta eSeries, or a Ginetta eSeries, but really showing his liking for the track. The clock's run down, so it's Jack Mack. Oh, Dave Marshall! Last lap, Dave Marshall goes on to pole position. That screwed me writing down the top 10, isn't it? So Marshall onto provisional pole. When you say provisional when the clock's out, that is a super performance from Marshall. So that will be his second pole of the year. It looked like we were going to get Jack Mack take it, but it's Dave Marshall who takes the pole position from Jack McIntyre and Ross McGregor. Next up was Max Edmondson. So a good performance from Max Edmondson. Jordan Brennan lines up in 5th and Zelos 6th place. From Mike Epps will be really, I think, disappointed with 7th place. Robbie Stapleford is in 8th from Lewis Brown. Good to see Lewis Brown in the top 10 on his return to the E-Series. And in 10th place, completing our 5th row of the grid, is Matt Richards. I keep calling him Max Richards because we've got a couple of Maxes in the offing. But let's go down into our virtual park Ferme and have a word with the pole position man. Congratulations, Dave Marshall. You left it right to the last minute.
Cutting it a little bit fine, that, wasn't it?
Good performance though, mate. Well done.
Yeah, you know what? I can't be dishonest. This track's a bit of a case of, it's a bit of a fluke lap if you put it pole.
You're always too modest.
You know what? You throw it over that middle chicane and sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't. So, we just made sure we got a decent lap in to start with, which is around the 54 dead, and then you spend the rest of the quali just trying to throw it over and, guarantee pole. But, managed to make it count when it mattered. So, yeah, pretty happy with that, if I'm honest, Richard.
That's good, isn't it? And points-wise, you're going to be... Mike Epps down in 7th, so you're not going to have to worry about Mike in the race for the early part, at least.
To be honest with you, for the overall, I'm not overly thinking about the championship in general. It's just the sim championship I'm thinking of. So,
yeah,
if I'm not going to start worrying myself on 2 different championships. So, even though it's in the same car, the sim championship is the focus. So, one track at the moment.
In that case, you probably are worried then because you got Jack Mack right with you.
Yeah, well, I was more worried when I was further back and I saw Jack was on pole, but luckily we've managed to pull up alongside him. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting race.
Okay, mate, well, we'll let you go and get ready. Dave Marshall, congratulations on pole position in the 10-10s. Driving excellence in motorsport. If you do want coaching, of course, there are so many guys that in this championship that coaching and also real world coaching. Mike Epps doing a little bit of both. Dave Marshall, obviously, one of our top lads. We've got some more messages coming through. Kelvin Cox says, good luck, Simon Reed. Max Bird says, good morning. Hello, Max. Hope you're well down there in Chichester. Question from Carl Walker asking if Nathan Harrison is any further getting into the league. Haven't heard from Nathan yet, but we do hope that he might be able to get some kit, and he'd be certainly good to have as a guest driver, particularly as we've seen guest drivers doing so well this weekend. Ross McGregor qualifying in that 3rd place. But as we wait for the cars to take to the virtual grid, Ronan Pearce, good qualifying and super timing from Dave Marshall, the Sim Class Championship leader.
It was indeed a mega lap from Dave at the end there. It's a really tight qualifying session, and the standings show that the top 4 are within a tenth of a second, as expected really, with such a short lap like Knockhill. But really good lap from Dave there.
Yeah, he's running well. Dave Marshall, you know, last year he tended to bang those quick laps in fast, which stamped his authority on the proceedings very early on, and that would be it. You very rarely get anyone to challenge him. This year, we're seeing the other drivers popping in the early laps. He's having to work harder, and you know he's the complete package. He's able to get out front. He's a good defender because he's quick. He's also a good driver at coming through the field. And this is going to be interesting for me. I think the drivers we probably need to watch are going to be Dan Zelos and Mike Epps coming up from 6th and 7th. But having said that, of course, you've got Robbie Stapleford, who's quick as well, coming up from 8th on the grid. Lewis Brown in 9th, Matt Richards in 10th place. It's going to be a fantastic race for sure to see as we look at our cars there. It is very much like watching the view, the camera angle that we get on ITV here from the gantry. And Dave Marshall in the black car with the red and white stripes, and alongside him is Ross McGregor. Second row, sorry, not Ross McGregor, Jack McIntyre, isn't it, on the front row? Ross McGregor on row 2, I beg your pardon, with Max Edmondson in P4. Jordan Brennan is 5th on the grid, and then third row completed by Dan Zelos. So we've got just under a minute to go for our first race here, Knockhill Circuit. A very quick prediction: who is going to win? Ronan.
I've got a feeling Dave Marshall could win this if he stays nice and consistent. Definitely. Lights are on.
Out go the lights. We're underway here at Knockhill Circuit, heading down into Stufferston for the first time. Dave Marshall running side by side at the moment with Jack McIntyre. It's a good start. Hold on to your hats as they go down through. Leslie's heading down towards McIntyre's for the first time. It's Marshall out front. McIntyre, McGregor is in third place. Then Max Edmondson. It's a very quick and clean start, I've got to say, by these guys. Let's hope that we don't get any big shenanigans, or have I missed something? Because we've got a safety car deployed, 6 or 7 cars towards the back of the field. I've got to say I was very much focused on the lead runners, so we've got a virtual safety car. So Rich Hayden will be in the seat, and this again, it does tend to mirror real life, doesn't it? You can get these, in speedway, motorbike speedway terms, they call it first lap bunching or first corner bunching. And when you've got so many evenly matched competitors all together, there is going to be a little bit of a shenanigan going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I was focused on the front as well. It was a really good start from Dave Marshall, but I just panned to the back of the pack, and Damien Hall was off on the grass with a few other cars. It's really easy to get tangled through the first section of Knockhill at the start of a race. It's a very unforgiving circuit, and one car makes a mistake and they can easily be 3, 4, 5 cars off. But they're bunching back up onto the safety car now, and hopefully we'll not have too many more incidents and we can have some clean racing.
Fingers crossed for that. I meant to have a look actually. I don't think I spotted the little escape road as they come down Duffus. Is that not on the sim? It probably doesn't matter, but it's just a tiny little detail. Into the trioval section, safety car pulls off there. So Rich Hayden's job, we thought was done. She takes the shortcut through there. We're heading back up to the pits. Here we come up to the restart of our first race, and it's Dave Marshall from Jack McIntyre, Ross McGregor in third, Max Edmondson. Let's have a quick look. Mike Epps is up to 5th, so Epps making a wee bit of progress. I know that Dave Marshall's only really concerned about getting that drive and winning the sim category, but it is very, very key to see for us who takes the overall championship. Lots of support coming in for Alfie Glennie and Andy Glennie coming through, and Laura Lynn Brennan saying hello as well. Andy French says hello as well, and Gail Wedgwood saying hello and good luck to Max Coates. Max Coates up to 11th place. There might have been a bit of sandbagging from Max in qualifying, but he's actually done quite well, and he's up with Lewis Brown now, so they are 10th and 11th place moment trying to focus on Jordan Brennan in P6, down behind Mike Epps in 5th as they climb up the hill. Ashley Beard says go on Max Coates as well. Coatesy having a trademark run through the order. That's what he's going to be hoping to do. He's got Luke Kinsley behind him, Josh Martin 13th, Isaac Smith down in 14th, the regular podium finisher. Is Isaac Smith certainly well capable of it. Liam Ladd at 19th, just checking on him. Jack Noller is in 18th place, trying to get up into the points as well. We ride on board with Mike Epps looking at the back of Max Edmondson. Here through Clark Curve. Steep climb here, isn't it, Ronan?
It is. It's a really difficult corner. Actually, it's all off camber, and you kind of turn in a little bit blind, and you've really got to strike the curb on the inside well to get a good run to propel you down the back straight. It's such a vital, pivotal corner of the track. It's a long run down the railway straight to the hairpin to end your lap well.
And then this sort of massive climb, it's very well worth doing a circuit walk. We've done that a few times at Knockhill. I mentioned, if I go on qualifying day, I'll walk around the outside of the track, but the actual track walk itself will give you a really good idea about the gradients. Here is Josh Hislop trying to fend off Josh Martin at the moment. Jack Noller is in behind. Jack, a university student studying motorsport engineering. It's only his second series in Assetto Corsa racing. Was third in the VRRC TT Cup last year. So quick peddler is Jack Noller. 18th at the moment, so we look back from Josh Hislop. Ryan Elliott losing a little bit of ground on him in a minute. Here is Jack Macklow, P2, and this is crucial stuff here for Jack McIntyre. Dave Marshall is in front at the moment, but Jack Mack knows that he's got the pace around here from the practice session, from the early stages of qualifying, and he's all over the back of Dave Marshall. We've got a good battle on for the lead here.
I think Dave's got his work cut out a little bit defending from Jack here. He just needs to park it on the apexes and maybe potentially white line it for the rest of the race on the inside to stop Jack getting any sniff of getting past him here. But a really good start. These front three, it could go either way here.
Yeah, Ross McGregor, let's not forget him in 3rd place. This is a super debut from him. Top 3 getting away. Mike Epps is trying to close in. If these 3 battle each other hard enough, that could give Epps the chance to close up. But Dave Marshall, looking back at the moment, has got that lead. The danger point here, I suppose, has got to be the corner we're going through now. If Dave Marshall leaves enough of a gap for Jack McIntyre to go up on the inside line, then that could be his best move. We'll wait and see. I wonder if there's an option to run Knockhill reverse at any time, or whether they do in Simland. That's not something I've seen, but I'm sure it does happen. But it's Marshall out front still. Been told by Mike it does happen. Thanks for that, Mike. Very, very close for the lead here. So Marshall from McIntyre. Best lap at the moment for Dave Marshall of 55.272. Jack Mack's best one of 55.4. So Marshall in line for the extra point for the fastest lap. Of course, picked up a point for that pole. It's a championship gap to Mike Epps. Is now in terms of he's just down to 2 points.
It's really tight into the hairpin. There's a couple of cars up the inside. Jordan Brennan's right in the mix of things with Max Edmondson. The top 2 guys need to watch out, because I feel that Mike Epps could really come into the mix here.
Yeah, could very well do so. So Epps will be trying to go through. I'm just looking at the timing screen. We're looking at Dave Marshall. Marshall's fallen away. Now I've got to be honest, I actually flicked green over to the timing screen when I was talking to you about the fastest lap. So it's Jack Mack out front now. So apologies for missing out on that. But as I say, I was flicking windows and having a look at that. So Jack Mack out front and Epps ahead of Marshall. So where we were talking about the championship lead, potentially going back to Mike Epps now with 3rd place, which is 15. It'll be a tied championship point. Jordan Brennan 6th place. Matt Richards there in the mix as well. Looks on the outside line. Then Max Coates up to 8th. Lewis Brown 9th. Robbie Stapleton 10th. Point scorers completed by Isaac Smith. Then Ryan Elliott. Dan Zelos 13th. Dan's in the points. Josh Hislop 14th. And Luke Kinsley in 15th place ahead of Rob Butler. So I'm not sure what happened to Marshall in You might think he's maybe curbed it, but again, apologies for missing that. Typical, isn't it? If you look at your notes or change screens, then that happens. Got a message through from Ryan Elliott saying good luck to Ryan from CC Sim Racing, and that's Craig Cook. So thanks for that. So Jack McIntyre still out front. We risk looking at the timing screen again. Jack Mac with a 1:54.155. So Jack Mac now with the fastest lap unofficially. Ross McGregor is in P2, 1.1 seconds down. Mike Epps in third. Epps has got 3 sim races between himself and Max Edmondson in terms of the Real World Driver Championship. The Real World Drivers for a prize, by the way, of course, get sim equipment. And if you need your sim sorting out, talk to Virtual Reality Racing Club. They'll be pleased to get you going, get you with the appropriate kit. And our sim racers, of course, winning the chance to go out and either race or test with the Cooper Challenge. Dan Zelos has a little bit of a moment there, collects it up well. Zelos running in 13th, chasing Ryan Elliott. And there we go, in car with Ryan chasing Isaac Smith at the moment in 11th place. And Robbie Stapleford in 10th. When I just look down the quality of this entry, Ronan, it is really, really good with the likes of Isaac Smith there, Dan Zelos, some great drivers. And I'm guessing it could be easy for those guys to get disheartened if they're not right up at the sharp end. But it is a case of so many good drivers, somebody's going to be disappointed somewhere along the line.
Well, yeah, you could say that. I think I've been quite surprised. The standard's been fantastic, but the sim racers have been constantly at the front of the pack in every qualifying session and every race. I don't know if that's maybe because they've got more experience on the sim and they've been practicing more than the real world racers, but it's great to see the mix of the two battling with each other. You know, Mike Epps is more doing virtual racing at the moment, but obviously with being a real world racer, he's been bringing that experience that he's got to the virtual world and be doing a great job. But it's quite funny when you look at 8th, 9th, 10th, Max Coates, Lewis Brown, Isaac Smith, they're all real world racers, and they're at the bottom end of the top 10, so hats off to the guys that are doing a great job from the virtual world.
Absolutely right, and fascinating to watch how this all pans out. So it is still Jack McIntyre there. We are into the second half of the race, and on board with Matt Richards chasing Max Edmondson. Max 5th in the championship, 2nd in the real world category. He's a Carter, young Carter. Max Edmondson has represented the UK racing in karts abroad over a couple of seasons, so not short of travelling, but still a youngster and gaining plenty of experience. Jordan Brennan 7th, Edmondson 5th. Dave Marshall trying to get back on track from 4th place. We know that we will see, and I've mentioned this before, but we will see Dave Marshall racing in the Cooper class and one of the Toka rounds this year when they're guesting. And what he's hoping to do, obviously, if he can win the sim category, is make it that he's out for 2 rounds. It will be a Toka round for last year's prize, a non-Toka round for this year's winner. Little inset there of Max Coates. We've been pulling Max's leg about the light. The light's a little bit better this weekend, isn't it? So I think the sun might well be out in Scorton this week. Lovely little village. Love driving through Scorton. I'm not sure if you've ever been through there. It's probably off the beaten track for you coming down South Ronan, but a lovely place, lovely village where Max lives.
Yeah, I've never been through there, but I really like going to Croft, North Yorkshire. It's a really nice part of the country. It's quite funny sitting watching this and seeing Max in his room in his house just with his beanie hat on and his headset. Yeah, don't get too used to that. At some point we'll need to put all our race gear back on.
Yeah, good comment, mate. Absolutely spot on. We're looking forward to that. Can't wait to get back out. The signs are that we're all moving in the right direction now, which is good. Dave Marshall static in 4th at the moment. In car with Lewis Brown. Great to see Lewis back, running in the AOC car. One of our sponsors, so very grateful to see their livery on the grid. Good to see Lewis Brown back. 9th position, chasing Coates at the moment. Ryan Elliott is behind him. He's working hard. Josh Hislop making progress meanwhile. Josh there chasing Liam Lambert. Not too much of Liam at the moment, but coming under a bit of pressure from Josh. Liam in 18th place. Best result so far, a brace of 17th places. First race of the year at Brands Hatch. First race at Snetterton last weekend, so it'd be good to see Liam get up into points. But Josh Hislop will be keen as they go over the brow to the Beatson's Bridge. Beatson's a great company, of course, run by the Marshall family, long-time supporters of racing up here, and John Marshall, former Scottish Classics champion, raced in the Legends Cars Championship in Scotland as well, so I know that Knockhill grateful for their patronage, as Isaac Smith going past Ryan Elliott there for 10th position. So a nice move, further up the points, got a bit of work to do to close down on Lewis Brown ahead of him, but neat move.
Fantastic move there. Been watching these two for a couple of laps now, going hammer and tongs, side by side. Really, really good to see. It's really nice and clean racing as well.
That could be the curse of the commentator, Ronan, when you say clean racing so far. Here are the two teammates together, though. So this is for third place. Marshall and Epps. Now Jack McIntyre, remember, is out front. McIntyre on 104 points, so Marshall on 1, 2, 3. We were just questioning whether Epps would let Dave through to get those extra points back and maybe keep a bigger distance. There's a gap on the inside line. Now, was that a let through, Ronan, or a textbook pass?
It looked quite easy to me, but there could be method in Mike's madness there. Yeah, it looked like quite an easy move for Dave. It looked like it was almost a little bit planned halfway down the back straight there, but nevertheless the race is still on.
Yeah, that was a 2-point move championship wise. Now Marshall with the championship lead is or was 20 points by my reckoning clear of Jack Mack. That will make him 18, because that pulls him back, doesn't it? So McIntyre will get 20 for the win. Marshall now in P3 will get 15, so it goes down from 20 to 15, and it would have been 13. So yeah, it's negating the points, and of course Jack Max, he seems to have hit a little bit of a vein of form at the moment, and that could technically or potentially erode Dave Marshall's championship lead in the sim category. So that could have been a key move. We might look back when we're at Brands Hatch. Another move down on the inside line here. Dan Zelos looking to go through, makes the pass, gets past Luke Kidsley. Luke in 14th place at the moment. Provisional pole, because we've got 4 minutes left on the clock. Provisional pole for race 2 is with Robbie Stapleford. Isaac Smith in 11th will provisionally share the front row with him, but Dan Zelos with a few lengths to go to catch up with Robbie Stapleford. And this is for provisional pole, so Stapleford, the car with the white stripe on the bonnet, Dan Zelos behind him, would love to get up onto pole position here, and that could work out well for him, but he's dropping back down the order now. Zelos down to 15, so provisional pole maybe going to be out of the question for him. Josh Martin now chasing him, so problems for him. Jack McIntyre still top from Ross McGregor. A good lead, a good healthy lead here from McIntyre over McGregor, with Dave Marshall in third trying to close down. 3-second lead, another 2 seconds adrift at the moment is Dave Marshall, as we ride on board with the top sim lad, third position in the race, and he's just got to try and focus now very much on his racing line, trying to close up on Ross McGregor. Ross, though, we're saying Ross isn't taking points out of the championship, but he is technically here, isn't he, because he's on 17 points if he wins this. I'm pretty sure he's not a guest entry. And Ross McGregor in fact showing in the lead now. So what's happened to McIntyre? He's gone through on the inside line. There was a big gap, but McGregor now through into lead position, and McIntyre down into P2, and that closes the gap up for Dave Marshall again. So Marshall third, McIntyre second. Ross McGregor could well take a win. It'll be a fair old story here if he can grab the win first time out. Jack Mack working hard, wants to get back into the lead. Wonder if he curbed it. Didn't quite see, because we were on board with Dave Marshall in that third place, but a big surprise and a change. It's the number 3 car that's in the front position now.
It was a shame actually. It was car 27 of Alfie Glennie. It was a back marker there into the hairpin. I just caught the aftermath of it. It seemed to really unsettle Jack McIntyre. Also going up the straight as well. So advantage McGregor.
It is, so he's out front at the moment and working hard to try and get back into the mix. So McGregor, the race leader, 1 minute 24 on the clock. That timing has come fairly well for McGregor. McIntyre P2, Dave Marshall is in 3rd place from Mike Epps, then Max Edmondson, Matt Richards in 6th position from Max Coates, Jordan Brennan 8th, Lewis Brown 9th from Ryan Elliott, Isaac Smith 11th, Robbie Stapleton still on that provisional pole at the moment for race 2 in 12th place. The points finishers at the moment, Luke Kidsley 13th, Rob Butler 14th, Dan Zelos in 15th position, chased by Josh Martin. Damien Hall having a decent run at the moment, up into 17th, so just shy of the points as McGregor heads down the railway straight in towards Taylor's the hairpin. Watching Matt Richards chasing Max Edmondson. Edmondson 5th in the race, 5th in the championship standings on 88. He's actually going to close up on Jordan Brennan in terms of the championship. Might even pass Brennan for 4th place in the championship here. They're in separate classes. Brennan sim racer, Edmondson in the real world. 16 seconds plus 1 lap to go. It's been an eventful one.
It has. Looking like we'll have an extra lap at the end here, but I've been really impressed with the sharp end of the grid. Some really good overtakes, clean battles. It's so close, and they're all sort of, you can see that they've almost been improving every lap after qualifying. Nice, and it's been really nice and consistent as well from the guys at the front.
Yeah, it's been good stuff from the guys at the front. And Ross McGregor, it means we're going to get a chat with him if he's on the podium. The clock has run down, so we are on the final tour here of our first race at Knockhill Circuit. On board with Dave Marshall. They've really closed in. Marshall here has perhaps got the chance of getting up ahead of his class rival here. I don't think he's going to get to have a battle for the lead, but he's very much in with a shout of getting 2nd place here. He won't do anything silly because he knows at the moment he's got 2nd place points, and it could have been worse for him to have been a little bit far down the order. Ryan Elliott's still on that, he's now on provisional pole. Robert Stapleford has gone up to 11th place, so we'll line up on the outside of the front row provisionally. Into Taylor's for the last time, and it's going to be Ross McGregor on his debut who's going to take the win. Jack McIntyre, I think, has managed to fend off Dave Marshall as they come up towards the checkered flag here. And it's McGregor that takes the win. McIntyre P2. Dave Marshall is 3rd from Mike Epps. Max Edmondson is next up. Then Matt Richards in 3rd place. Max Coates, Richardson, beg your pardon, finishes in. Matt Richards is in 6th place. Max Coates in 7th. 8th place goes to Jordan Brennan. 9th position is Lewis Brown. 10th is Isaac Smith. 11th, therefore the outside of the front row for race 2, is Robbie Stapleford. And pole position for race 2 goes to Ryan Elliott. So Ryan with a good shout of taking a first win of the season in race 2. One of the things we need to get Ronan to think about is a driver of the race for that one. We're going to pop down into the virtual park firm. A confirmation of the result: McGregor and McIntyre 1st and 2nd from Dave Marshall, Mike Epps, Max Edmondson 5th from Matt Richards and Max Coates, Jordan Brennan 8th from Lewis Brown, Isaac Smith, Robbie Stapleford, Ryan Elliott 12th from Rob Butler and Luke Kidsley. Dan Zelos completed the points finishers. Josh Martin and Josh Hislop 16th and 17th from Liam Lambert. Jack Noller in 19th position. Simon Reed was next up from Jack Davidson and Andy Dorman in 22nd. Let's see if we can get down into Virtual Park Ferme and catch up. We can catch up with Dave Marshall, P3. Dave, what happened to lose the lead?
What I said in qualifying, I was just a bit greedy and, went to try and get the fastest lap by a good margin, and it paid the price, What can you do?
Dave, sorry, I think we lost a little bit of sound coming in my end from Dave Marshall, which I apologise for. So Dave, in the points anyway, and we'll see if we can have a word with the man who finished in second place, which is Jack McIntyre. Jack, hope you can hear me okay, and more importantly, from my point of view, I hope that I can hear you. P2, so good points on the race, and second position, but losing out to the newcomer, Ross McGregor.
Yeah, that was an interesting start. I saw Dave made the mistake and jumped on it and got in the lead and drove off, and then it was, I don't know if you saw what happened with the back marker, but probably less said the better. But yeah, race 2 still got second, so lucky to not be in a huge incident and lose everything. So we'll carry on, try and get a good result in race 2.
A lot of work to do, isn't it, coming from the back, particularly around here. It's not the easiest of tracks. It's one of the more challenging tracks to make significant progress.
Yeah, if you probably name a track that race 2 is the most terrifying on out the whole season, it's going to be this one. So just got to see what happens, get stuck in and hope it goes well.
In terms of the championship, though, although Ross got through, technically top points for you, because Ross isn't a championship contender as such.
Yeah, that's still good. I mean that promotes Dave up to second as well, so I'm still not clawing back as much as I need to. But hopefully this is kind of a turning point in the championship. The tracks coming up are ones that I did better in last year. Still positive. Still optimistic.
Nice one. Good luck for race 2. Thanks for talking to us, Jack McIntyre, P2. And our winner, welcome to the championship, and many congratulations, Ross McGregor. Well done. Are you there, Ross? Oh. Still can't hear Ross, so...
I am here.
We got him. Ross, many congratulations. It's Richard here in the commentary box, and well done on the win. So
Yeah, thanks very much. Thankfully I didn't have any technical issues during the race, just after the race. It was good. Jack had it in the bag, and then obviously had a little incident there. I just stayed ahead. I was just so glad that I'm not taking championship points away from him. So I was checking that during the race, but what can I say? It's went pretty well.
So we're going to see you as a regular now?
It was just going to be a one-off, but you keep winning, then it seems kind of daft not to, doesn't it?
Absolutely right. Tell us a bit about your sponsor, Marlowe Watch Company.
Yes, Marlowe Watch Company is a British brand. They design mechanical watches, and they're based in Scotland now. And it's my good friend Gordon Fraser that is the chief CEO and designer of watches. It's good. I'm happy to represent the brand, and a nice win will do nicely.
Superb promotion for them. Thanks for them for backing you, and great to have you here. Thanks for coming along. Good luck for race 2. Maybe see you on the podium from 12th on the grid. Ross McGregor.
Cheers. Bye.
Good to hear from Ross McGregor. So, driver of the race, Ronan, what are your thoughts?
For me, it's got to be Ross McGregor, definitely. He's come into the party today and caused a bit of an upset there, really. I didn't quite expect that from him, but after a great qualifying performance, he set himself up for success in the race and managed to deliver that. Yeah,
I think that's a good call, very good call indeed. So we'll see what he can do from 12th on the grid. Normally they're looking at maybe getting up into the top half dozen or so if they can, but we're getting ready for race 2. Lights are coming in, so the inset you can see the top 12 reversed, the drivers with the work to do here. But quick reminder, Ryan Elliott on pole in the white car, lights coming on now, 4, 5, usual wait for the lights to go out. You've got somebody pulling off, not sure who that is. That Josh Martin maybe that's gone off, not sure. We'll try and clear that for you as they go into toughest for the first time. What a move by Robbie Stapleford, who looks around the outside line there side by side. We've got cars everywhere. There is a bit of an escape road, isn't there? Tom O'Farrell going through there. Having a look at Ryan Elliott is the race leader. So Elliott, the leader from Lewis Brown in P2. Isaac Smith is third from Matt Richards. It's going to be a safety car, isn't it? Surely on the first lap of race 2, a much more frenetic start. But you tend to get that with, I'm not saying the slower cars, but the drivers that were further back, starting off the front. But we do have the chance now for everything to slow down. But that was a very frenetic start, Ronan.
I didn't really know where to look there, Richard. There was cars
indeed.
flying off left, right and centre, like skittles. Yeah, it just all seemed to be a bit chaotic. Everyone was quite excited for that reverse grid race, I think. But now we've got Ryan Elliott in the lead from Lewis Brown and Isaac Smith, and that's going to be a really exciting restart. I would keep your eyes out on the real world racers here and see what they can do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Just looking at the timing screen on the left-hand side, we've got Mike Epps down in 21st place, so he's lost out big time there. Max Coates has as well. He's down in 25th position. Dave Marshall has moved up into 6th position from, fifth, sixth row of the grid. Jack McIntyre in 7th has made great progress as well. Dan Zelos is in 10th. Liam Lambert came through all that as well. Very well threaded by Liam Lambert, coming through into 11th place. So extremely well read from him. Josh Hislop behind him, then Jack Noller, Simon Reed and Max Edmondson 15th. They round out the point scorers at the moment as we get ready to have another go at it. But this could be history repeating itself for Lewis Brown if he can take a win in the reverse grid race. We were listening to you, Ronan, saying about Lewis doing so last year. But Ryan Elliott is a difficult guy to pass, so we'll see whether he can hold on, maybe extend the lead here in race 2. Elliott from Brown, Isaac Smith, again good to see Isaac in a potential podium position in 4th. In 3rd, Matt Richards is in 4th place from Jordan Brennan, then Rob Butler in 6th. Decent enough restart. Sometimes you need that just to calm everybody down.
You do, definitely do. Still a little bit handbags and door handles at the lower half of the table standings at the minute, though. They seem to be, again, getting a little bit overzealous with some of the driving.
Dave Marshall down the inside line there of Jack McIntyre, very neatly done, and that's a good move for Marshall. Significant championship points wise there on the inside of the heaven, a classic Knockhill pass, very neatly done. McIntyre as well was aware that he was there. They're still going side by side, and let's see, there's a little bit of contact between the two of them. How's this going to pan out? I think they've managed to pull it all back together, but Jack Mack loses a couple of positions. Rob Butler goes up in the mix. McIntyre not going to be looking the happiest about that. Ross McGregor gets a knock as well, drops down to 13th place, maybe even a little bit further down to 16th. So McGregor, after the glory in race 1, finds himself a little bit further down. We're focused on Liam Lambert, still in the points potentially. Very, very busy here. Lambert down to 13th, now down to 15th. It's very physical in those last point scoring positions.
Safety cars deployed again, by the looks of it. No safety car. So it's actually a really shaken up standing at the minute. You've got a lot of the guys that were at the sharp end in the first race that are now struggling to make it into the top 15, top 12. So really, really mixed up, but that's what we also like to see, and that's also one of the benefits of a reverse grid.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's all about, isn't it? And Ryan Elliott's still out front. He's just over half a second clear over Isaac Smith now in P2. So Isaac up into 2nd from Matt Richards. Lewis Brown down to 4th place. So our prediction that Lewis might get a reverse grid win at the moment on the back burner. Not to say he can't come back from 4th, because he very definitely can, as we watch the battle for 2nd position. Very close indeed between the 4 of them. Elliott clear at the moment, side by side. Brown looking to try and go through. Matt Richards has got his nose in front at the moment. Isaac Smith is at the head of them. A little bit of a a Bosch on the side there. That's something that Clark, of course, Andy Ringland will probably watch back. There was an awful lot of work, we've said this before, awful lot of work for Andy Ringland, Clark, of course, Rich Hayden to do in between. I know some of the drivers perhaps not particularly happy sometimes with judicial decisions, but you know, that again mirrors what happens in real life. The drivers are never happy with what the Clark, of course, will have to say. But anyway, that will be looked at. Matt Richards immediately in front of us. We are on board with Juggy Bear, Jordan Brennan. We were looking from 5th position. Jack McIntyre in 8th, so a little bit of progress for Jack McIntyre. It's Elliott still out front from Isaac Smith and Lewis Brown. Brown in the AOC car. There he is, coming under pressure here from Matt Richards, who's looking at the outside run here as they come down into Duffers Dip. Nothing doing here, very close. Little tap on the back end, outside line as they come into McIntyre's. If you get a good wide run into McIntyre's, sometimes the momentum can carry through to make a move into the chicane. Didn't quite work out there for Richards, but you can see he's really thinking about whether he can get past and how he can get past Lewis Brown. Brown, though, very difficult man to pass.
Some brilliant defensive driving here from Lewis. It's letting the front two just get the head down and get away with the race here, but Lewis is doing a great job to just slow the car down that little bit extra on the apexes, the corners, and stop the threat of an undercut, especially down the straights here. So looking good.
Yeah, Matt Richards was looking on the outside line there of Lewis Brown, and as a result that left the door open for Jordan Brennan. Jordan saw the opportunity and slotted through, and so good stuff from him. Another good message from Marcus Peterson saying good luck Ryan Elliott. Ryan's doing well. We've got a real mess on there. Jack McIntyre is off the track, so Mike Epps coming through in the black and blue car, nipping through. So Epps up into the top 10. It's all changed. Robbie Stapleford goes through ahead of Dan Seelos, and Stapleford up into 8th place from the front row. He's recovering. And this is a look back from Juggy Bear with Matt Richards trying to get back on him. Matt there was, as we said, optimistically looking around the outside line of the hairpin. Fair play for him for having a go, but it did leave the door open. Brennan now chasing Lewis Brown. And look at the speed that the number 44 car has got. Matt Richards having a look on the outside line, very nearly off the track, but trying everything he can. But now, of course, getting sucked into the back with Dave Marshall, who's coming up to play with him as well.
It's really, really great stuff to watch here, Richard. Jordan's managed to get a little bit of breathing space there, but that's the fantastic thing with a one-make tin top series such as the Mini Challenge. You know, it's so hard when you're trying to battle with the cars ahead, trying to overtake, that sometimes you can leave yourself open to losing positions as well. But that's why we see some really exciting races and so many changes for position throughout.
Absolutely right. Sadly, the damage is claimed to Damien Hall. He reports on social media that he's out of the race with a damaged car. So we wish him well. Look forward to seeing him at Silverstone next time out. That's Elliott from Smith still out front. I'm not even going to bother looking back. There is a disconsolate Damien Hall in our inset. Disappointing for him. Rob Butler being passed here by, or about to be challenged by Jack Mack. So McIntyre in 12th place, all over the back of Rob Butler. Rob again, a top driver, difficult man to pass, coming up through the chicane. Those two having a good run. Jack Davidson next up from Max Coates. Coates has done another very good recovery here. As we've seen, we don't want to see Max doing the recoveries. We want to see him up the front, up the sharp end all the time. But super recovery drive from Max Coates from, I think, you know, right down near the back, up into 14th place. So some really good passing for him as we watch Jack McIntyre getting stuck in again. Rob Butler immediately in front. That is for 11th place. So some useful points in the offing there. Still Elliott leading by 6/10 from Isaac Smith. I think Smith is getting closer. Lewis Brown in 3rd. Max having a bit of a dive there as they go up the straight once again. Coates 13th. Jack McIntyre his next target. Back with the McIntyre Butler battle. Dan Zelos ahead, and Dan's still scoring points today. He's in 10th place here, Dan. Mike Epps in 9th ahead of him. You think you've got the likes of Mike Epps in 9th position. It's just been a tough weekend so far for the championship front runners. Very physical racing, and Knockhill living up to its reputation as a tough circuit. So McIntyre's still 12th. Dan Zelos is going to be, he's being closed in on here by Rob Butler, 11th and 12th positions. Elliott now the gap down to 3/10.
I've got a feeling that Andy Ringland, the clerk of the course, is going to be quite busy this afternoon. Been some few incidents on track, some interesting driving standards in the lower half of the pack. Oh, as we see a
that was a flyer
incident,
there.
Yeah, a flying car into the first corner, literally. But going back to what you were saying, Richard, about the clerk of the course, it's great that we've got that at this level. You know, it just shows how important and how serious the eSeries sim racing is. You know, there's some fantastic prizes that have been put up on offer for the real world category and the sim racers. So when you've got such great prizes, I think it's only right that we do have judicials, and there's been a lot of drivers that have been getting points deducted on their overall championship points.
Yeah, they've all got to behave themselves, and it is, as you say, very much a professional outlook to keep the whole thing together, to keep the whole thing, and it's brought more people into the championship than you will lose. It always will work that way. We had a momentary look at the top three. Ryan Elliott still coming under pressure from Isaac Smith, with Lewis Brown in 3rd place, Andy Dorman in 21st at the moment, Tom O'Farrell ahead of him. Good to see Alfie Glennie making progress. Alfie in 19th position here. Isaac Smith's got the lead, so Isaac Smith going through to the lead. The challenge on. He's being challenged by, by Lewis Brown going through. Lewis Brown into P2. So side by side, this will help Ryan Elliott if he needs help. I'm not sure Ryan does need help because he's a fast enough peddler on his own, and he is out front. But Lewis Brown, I said earlier on in the race, don't write him off because he might have dropped down to 4th. But now back up into P2, and this is the Lewis Brown that we know and love, working his way through the Lincolnshire youngster up into P2. Elliott still the leader, Lewis Brown 2nd, Isaac Smith 3rd. Don't write off Isaac Smith either. He'll get stuck in. Quick look down the order again at Andy Dorman, Tom O'Farrell, Max Edmondson 20th, 21st and 22nd position in the race at the moment. Top points, Jack Noller 15th at the moment, so he's the last point scorer. Alfie Glennie in 19th, so Alfie potentially on here for his best finish, Alfie Glennie, and that's the reason that I wanted to single him out. So good stuff by Alfie Glennie in this race. Now he'll be pleased to make a little bit of progress. So there is Alfie. You can see he made good progress from the previous one. He's in the Graves Motorsport car. A little bit shy of points positions at the moment, but it'd be good to see him bang some points in, hopefully, as he gets a little bit more experience with the rig and sim racing as we go on. Back with the front runners, and 5th position, Matt Richards at the moment, chasing Isaac Smith. Dave Marshall, meanwhile, has got ahead of those two and up onto a podium in a reverse grid. Hopefully I'll be able to hear him on the podium this time. Apologies again for the sound issues that I've had, but it's Elliott from Lewis Brown, Isaac Smith down to 4th, Dave Marshall in 3rd. 5 minutes on the clock, so still a quarter of this race to go. Looking at the gap, 1.5 seconds. Dave Marshall here. I wouldn't bet against him for the win, Ronan.
Absolutely. He's. I think I'm trying to choose my driver of the day as we go here, and Dave at the moment could be on for that nomination because he's a bit of a postman race driver, really. He's always delivering. You know, the results are always really strong. They're always in the top 5. And bagging solid points for the championship. So yeah, keep your eyes on Dave here. He could potentially go on to win this race, but got a feeling Lewis Brown could also throw up a surprise. You never know.
Yeah, could well do. So let's keep our eyes on Dave Marshall. I've lost pictures at the moment, so you'll have to bear with me while I get those back.
See Mike Epps there on screen in 9th place. It's been a bit of a frustrating day on the sim for Mike. Obviously some of the other cars down in 19th, for example, Max Edmondson, he had a really good first race, but it's been a frustrating second race. Also Ross McGregor, outstanding in race 1, and he's unfortunately in 25th, so it just shows you that on a really tricky circuit with a lot of incidents, how it can go wrong.
Right, we've got the pictures back now, so apologies for that again, very glitchy today, but back with us, and Mike Epps working hard.
Great move there on Robbie Stapleford.
Yeah. So Epps up into 8th place, still working hard for the points, and just looks so cool, doesn't he, in his little Corbeau seat there as well. All the gear, plenty of idea. Pearson life, apparently. Oh, he has got has he got his name on the back of the seat as well? So Epps having a good run, 8th position, but Ryan Elliott's still up front, 3/10. Battle for the top end of things now. Dave Marshall putting pressure on Lewis Brown. This is what Lewis Brown wanted to be in a proper battle. And Marshall looking up the inside line here. He's got this position for sure. Big battle on behind. Looking back from Ryan Elliott, so it's Marshall up into P2. Isaac Smith back in the mix as well. I said discount Isaac Smith at your peril. He's back up into 3rd place. Super stuff from Isaac. Really good to see him battling hard. That's the key thing. We're really seeing the potential of this championship. So Josh Martin's having problems with his VR. Feedback coming through from him. But Isaac Smith, super stuff. Dave Marshall again. I don't know, we call Jack McIntyre the silent assassin, but really Dave Marshall has been here as well, working his way through. And Marshall now in front.
Change for the lead there,
Yep.
with Isaac Smith dipping 2 wheels into the gravel on the exit of the chicane, and Dave Marshall's taking the lead. So again, so difficult to predict, but Dave goes about things really quietly, and he now finds himself in the prime position again.
Yeah, he's up there, and you would have to say now that he's up there. Mind you, we saw him up the front in the previous race and curbing it as he looked for fastest lap. Funny enough, it was me looking at the lap times that missed that in race number 1, but he's not going to make the same mistake again because Dave Marshall doesn't do that. Isaac Smith second still, then Matt Richards now ahead of Ryan Elliott. Lovely move, really working hard these boys. Look at this side by side, Lewis Brown in the mix as well. In black, contact between the two, and sadly off goes Ryan Elliott. That's a big shame for Elliott, who we were expecting possibly for a win, possibly for a podium as well, but now a podium possibility is with Jordan Brennan, who is in 3rd place. So it's Marshall from Isaac Smith, and Jordan Brennan has come through. A great race, probably didn't see a podium coming, but he's up into 3rd place. Matt Richards, who was in the thick of things in that battle, is in 4th place. Then it is Lewis Brown 5th from Josh Hislop 6th, Mike Epps 7th from Ryan Elliott, who's recovered for 8th place. Jack McIntyre in 9th. There is Ryan Elliott ahead of Jack McIntyre. McIntyre having a quiet race, but this has been very physical indeed. 1 minute 5 on the clock, plenty of drama here.
Loads of drama, and that was a really good example of how 2 into 1 doesn't go. It's one corner on this circuit that sometimes you just have to yield, and we saw Ryan Elliott and Lewis Brown coming together. Unfortunately, Ryan was slightly worse off, but it's easily done. Neither of them clearly wanted to give up that position.
No, it's all fiercely competitive, fiercely fought for every position. Jack McIntyre still busy chasing Ryan Elliott. McIntyre 9th, and Ryan Elliott in 8th place. Jack Noller still in the points, 15th. Jack Davidson, Dan Sealos 13th. Max Coates up into 12th. Robbie Stapleford is in 11th. Liam Lambert equaling his career best so far of 17th at the present time. Just needing to try and edge up one more position. 9 seconds left on the clock, so we're going to have one more lap at the completion of this one. Rob Butler putting McIntyre under pressure now as well. And look at the other thing I love about this presentation is the fact that when you get in the scrapes, you get the virtual scuffs on the car as well, and you can see that on Rob Butler's car. It's just so realistic.
It really is. It's I think when you look at this race, it's quite fortunate that it's virtual. Otherwise, there'd be a few pounds being spent on fixing cars. I'm actually wondering if we can request a third race because I'm loving it. There's a lot of action, and I feel that there could be so much more to come as well. It's a shame that we've only got one lap left.
It is a pity. Dave Marshall is again going to extend his record as being the most successful driver in terms of wins this season. It's going to be a 4th win of the year for him, and who'd have thought that it would come from the reverse grid race, from the 5th row of the grid in this one. Dave Marshall worked his way through. I'm sure he's had a little bit of fortune along the way, but that has to happen. But also an incredible amount of skill as ever from Dave Marshall out front. Isaac Smith P2, good to see Isaac back on the podium, and Isaac here potentially recording his best result of the year. Jordan Brennan in 2nd place, racing hard with him, as up to the flag comes Dave Marshall to take the win. It is going to be Jordan Brennan in P2, Isaac Smith in 3rd place from Matt Richards, Lewis Brown 5th, Josh Hislop in 6th place, Mike Epps will take 7th position from Ryan Elliott, Rob Butler 9th, Max Coates makes it up into the top 10, good drive through again from Max Coates into the top 10, so good stuff from him. Then in 11th place, Jack McIntyre, point scorers completed by Rob Stapleford, Dan Zelos, Jack Davidson and Jack Noller. Fascinating stuff, Ronan.
Fantastic race there. You can never predict who's going to finish where. You know, fantastic move at the end there from Jordan Brennan in the Licomoli Bat car up the inside of Isaac Smith at the hairpin. Isaac also had a really good race. And then again, Dave Marshall, definitely the title Silent Assassin would suit him because he's gone about today really, really well and cemented some great points in the championship.
So here's the result, Dave Marshall from Jordan Brennan. You can see Dave Marshall's best lap, 53.961. Matt Richards slightly quicker with a 53.932. 118.96. That's probably fastest lap of the race for Matt Richards, so well done to him on that. So the result, Marshall from Brennan and Smith. We'll be talking to those in just a moment. Matt Richards 4th from Lewis Brown, and results changing over there as people begin to switch off. So I'm going to switch on the Parc Ferme mic. So down in Parc Ferme, we'll have a word with the man who finished in 3rd place. Good to have you back on the podium again, Isaac Smith. That was a very frenetic race, Isaac.
Yeah, it was a bit all over the place, to be honest. I was a bit worried at times, but luckily we came through, and yeah, we finished on the podium. And Jordan, my teammate, obviously, massive well done to him coming through the pack how he did.
You sound a little bit more buoyant than last week. It was your first podium when we spoke to you at Snetterton, first podium of the season, but you sound a little bit happier today.
Yeah, well, to be honest, earlier in the week I was quite comfortable with the car and the track, but don't know what it is. I came on yesterday and I just couldn't put a lap in. And to come through with a podium whilst being 3 or 4 tenths off is pretty good going. So yeah, it was a good race altogether.
I'll tell you what, you know, anybody who gets a podium in the races we've just had, I'll take my hats off to them because it was a very, very frenetic race. So well done. Good to see you on the podium again, and we'll try and get you a little bit higher up the podium next time out. Isaac Smith, P3, well done. Let's move on to the man who is his teammate, as Isaac said, Jordan Brennan. 2nd position for Juggy Bear. Are you happy, fella?
Yeah. It's great to be back here. Not had one this season yet, so...
That's right. It's, you had a podium, Alton Park. Was that after judicials?
Did I? I don't even remember.
I love it when the drivers are switched on to what they've achieved. But that was really physical. Were you thinking about the possibility of a podium in that race? Because it in some respects opened up, didn't it? The front end.
Yeah. The start, it was a bit all over the place, and it was hard to sort of judge what you were doing. And then midway through that race, Ryan was just defending so hard, and everyone just fell off in front of me. I was like, "Thank you, I'll have that." And then, thanks to Isaac, got up into second on the last corner.
Sometimes it all works out that way, but a super result. Second position then for Jordan Brennan, best result of the year. So well done, and we'll see what you can do at Silverstone. Jordan Brennan, T2. Let's move on to our winner. I had a little bit of a problem. In last interview, Dave, apologies if I sounded rude, couldn't hear you what you were saying, but hopefully will this time. But our winner, very well done, from way back on the grid, Dave Marshall. How about that?
I can't quite believe that, Richard, if I'm honest. That one really does mean a lot. First race, you know what, I kicked myself after putting it in the gravel. And you know, I'm trying to buy a car at the moment, and would you believe the dealership rang us in race one as I come up the straight, so I missed a gear, and that's originally, and then I managed to get them straight back past, and then, you know, I managed to get a little bit of a gap, and I thought, you know what, I'll try over the chicane to see if I can put fastest lap in. Got greedy, put it in the gravel, and paid the price. But race two was a brutal start. I think it was Max Coates ended up getting turned, so I managed just to get up the inside of him. Safety car was deployed, and then, you know, it was just a case of just picking off people when they ran into the gravel a little bit, and, you know, making up the places, and had a little coming together with Jack Mack going into turn one. He put a move up inside of first corner, which is always brave. You know, there was a slight bit of contact, not to use the escape road, but made sure not to take any advantage of it and slowed back. But it's one of them things, you know, it's, as Jack said earlier, this track is one that you just sort of want to get out the way and get through. It's a track of chance, really.
It certainly looked that way. One comment, I'm probably wrong, and I might get shot down, but some of the sim lads, to me, I've watched a lot of real world racing over the years, and some of the sim lads are you know, have maybe practiced a lot on here, but I think you learn a lot from watching real racing as well. And I think some of the guys, if they watched some videos back, would have seen, you know, lines that work, lines that don't work. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I mean, I did quite a lot of work with Lewis Brown on the run up to this race. He booked in a couple of coaching sessions, and he said, you know, Dave, I'm booked in as an invitational driver, like, you know, Eaton obviously pedal in real life and just needed the help to get up to speed on a sim. And, you know, the line choice is not that dissimilar, but it's just finding the advantages on a sim that just give you a little bit of that edge. Yeah. And as soon as he found them, I don't know whether you've seen the practice sheets, he was a front runner for the top three. So fantastic job there to Lewis, and it's a shame, if I'm honest, I had him down for the win for this race. He can really pedal.
It could have gone any way, couldn't it? I mean, there were so many good drivers at the sharp end. And Ronan and myself were saying that I think you probably nicked the Silent Assassin nickname in that race, because you came through. We knew you were there, so maybe not silent, but you just kept chipping away and coming up and then into the lead to take a win. I think that's one we're going to remember for a while. Yeah, it's as I say, it's one of them tracks where you've got to get in a rhythm, and if anyone knocks you off that rhythm, it's really hard to then get back into it. But, you know, I managed to get to the point where it was sort of attacking one car a lap, and, you know, you can sort of relax a bit and get into a rhythm, and it's one of them things, but I'm just pleased to get that round out the way, if I'm honest with you. Well done, mate. Good to see that super drive and a great win. Dave Marshall, and we look forward to seeing you at Silverstone, Dave. Well done. Cheers. Thanks a lot, Richard. So, great stuff from Dave Marshall. A few messages coming through on our social media feed. Great recovery, Max Coates. That comes from Chris Hall. Congratulations. Great race, Dave Marshall, from Alan McCree. Gail Wedgwood says, great race, Max Coates, who worked his way through the order as well. What a race, that was crazy, says Restream. Yeah, absolutely right indeed. So let's talk to Ronan. Ronan, first of all, big thank you for picking up. We sort of threw you splosh right in the deep end there with picture and sound for me cutting out from time to time. So many thanks for doing an absolutely sterling job. Who was your driver of race 2 and the day? I think it's an easy one for me, Richard. I would definitely say that
Dave Marshall was my driver of the day. Just the way that he went about things, and yeah, there was an element of luck in how things panned out for him, but he drove really, really well from qualifying through both races. So yeah, I'm going to give Dave the Driver of the Day award, and as a new one as well to add to the driver's book of excuses that he missed a gear because his phone rang on the straight. So that's a really good one. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I hope he gets the car sorted out. Anyway, the one that he's buying. I was going to ask whether it's going to be a race car. That he's obviously getting the Mini Cooper from Accelerate Motorsport, who provide the prize. I think we've got Rich Hayden joined us as well in the room, our race director. Rich, and he thought that was a particularly frenetic day.
I think myself and Andy Ringland are going to be busy for the next few days.
Yeah, have you got some time spare?
I've never got time spare, but I always seem to find it somewhere, Richard.
I mean, obviously, you take it very seriously. It's extremely professional. You take it seriously, but there's a lot of work to do now.
Yeah, I imagine so. I've already had a few drivers contact me wanting to look at some driver protests. So yeah, we'll look at it. We'll look at it fairly. We'll make sure that fair play is kept throughout everything. But yeah, looks like myself and Andy's going to have a busy few hours.
Any thoughts on driver of the day? Ronan's put his 2 penneth in, so you normally have a good call too.
Yeah, absolutely. Lewis Brown for me. First round, difficult circuit, thrown in the pack, 2 decent results. Running right at the front in the second race, had a bit of an incident, but yeah, Lewis did really well.
Yeah, he did. I'd agree with that too. I'm not sure. Yeah, Dave Marshall. Dave was kicking himself, wasn't he, for that race 1 problem a little bit. Ross McGregor race 1 as well. What a highlight to the start of the day. And the trouble is, when you have race 2, you focus on race 2, and that's what you remember going forward. But great debut from Ross McGregor as well.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, for 2 drivers to come into this pack when it's so close on such a difficult circuit on a day where there was a lot of elbows out, both of them done really well. So very, very pleased to have them in this race. Really good start. I don't know if Mike Yao, our director, wants to add to that at all. He's seconding everything. That's yeah. Well, good old Mike. We tend to agree on most things. Yeah. So a thrilling day. Championship points are going to be provisional. I always remember, actually, the guy that runs Legends Cars in the UK, Phil Cooper, when he put his dates out, and it's even more relevant now than it used to be. And he used to put the dates out at the start of the year, and I can even do the voice to a certain extent. He'll say, Richard, the dates are out, and they're provisional, and then until the races are run, and then the results are provisional. And that's what he always said, and probably true today of what's happening. So, provisional results, but I'm thinking Dave Marshall might be top of the stack now, championship-wise, ahead of Mike Epps. But of course, he's, as he said, he is worried about the overall championship. It's not just about the sim category. He wants to get his real-world drive, but he seems to be waiting forever because he moved it forward from last year, and the potential is there for him to have 2 mini rounds. It would be nice if we could film both of those. Though there are talks going on to do that. Here are the provisional points. Look at that. Top job by the team. Dave Marshall, 159. A good lead over Mike Epps. Jack Mack is 3rd and 2nd in the sim category from Jordan Brennan. And then Max Edmondson 5th. Max Coates still in 6th place from Robbie Stapleford. And Dan Zelos. Rob Butler 9th from Matt Richards in 10th. I generally check in on the points later on in the week once all the judicials are gone. Otherwise you have to scribble everything out again for the prep for the next round. So we've got Lydia Walmsley joining us in the comms box next week from the Cooper class, which will be good. Miller's Oil's back driver, so looking forward to having some work with Lydia. But great job. I think everyone agreed by Ronan Pearson today. Here's our schedule, by the way. Silverstone National next week, International round 7 and round 8. Thoughts from Ronan? Have you enjoyed it?
I've loved it. It's over too soon, actually. Something completely new for me. Took me a little while to settle in.
No, you were there, mate.
But no, really enjoyed it, and it's something I'd be looking to do again in the future.
Well, we'd definitely love to have you back again. That was good. And I'm going to catch up with you in the week because we're going to have a little chat in the week and do one of our interviews talking about your career and what's happening this year. So I look forward to doing that. And if our viewers want to keep an eye out for that over the coming weeks, please do. So thanks very much for joining us, mate, and super job.
Thank you, Richard.
Vanessa Burrows says, great race game this week, guys. Well done to everybody from AOC Gaming. And remember to support them as our sponsor, so have a look at their online presence and the things that they deliver. And he says special thanks to Lewis Brown and Max Coates. Damien Hall says thank you as well. So from all of us here at Virtual Knockhill, Ronan Pearson, my co-commentator, myself, Richard John Neal, and Rich Hayden, our race director, Andy Ringland, the clerk of the course, who's now got to do a fair amount of work. Mike Yao, our director, as ever, superb job. A big thank you for joining us and for participating on social media for those of you who did. Stay safe in the coming week. Looking forward to your company again next time out at Silverstone. So be well. See you soon. Bye for now.
Between the two of them, the inside of Coates, Parker gets too heavily involved, and that's Whitehead and Coates.